morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody's having a great week. Man, we have a lot to get into, starting with the Denver Nuggets, the new NBA champions. And then I plan on doing a new video talking about the NBA draft coming up on Thursday, the 22nd. And then we got free agency starting at the end of June and the beginning of July is when the real contracts start to come in. You can trade certain players at the beginning of July, but certain teams are going to be trying to trade their players, try to get rid of the salary cap, bring in new salary cap, bringing in certain players. This is not the deepest free agency period. This is not. It is a deep draft, but it's not significantly deep. The top 15, you can really, the players really well, but it's not the deepest draft comparatively to last year's draft. But I thought I'd go ahead and get us into these people that are on the screen right now, the NBA champions. Congratulations to Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown. You got Thomas Bryant, Reggie Jackson, Christian Bond. They did a tremendous job. They had the right flow for everybody. They knew their part, and Nikola Jokic winning Finals MVP just from the get-go, from the very beginning of the playoffs. He had a fluid playoff run and swept the Lakers. Went 4-1 with the Miami Heat. Also, congratulations to the Miami Heat. It sucks to lose again in the playoffs. They lost 4-2 against the Lakers with LeBron James and AD before, and now they lost 4-1 to the Denver Nuggets. But they still had a tremendous run, especially with you had two undrafted players in Gabe Vincent and Max Strus that played tremendous throughout all the playoffs. Kind of went cold at the end of the playoffs. During the finals, kind of went cold, but they're still looking at $10 to $15 million a year kind of contract extension, or just a new contract in general. And I'm glad for them. And of course, Bam Adebayo is still a great defender. Jimmy Butler gave his all, but you could tell that during the playoffs he just was hurt. His ankle was just bothering him since that the New York Knicks run. It was just rough for him. But injuries, teams don't care about the injuries when you're playing against them. Take it for granted, or take it for what you will. My Indiana Pacers, we've had our injuries of Paul George and Victor Oladipo. Miles Turner's hurt every year almost. We had Malcolm Brogdon for a while that had injuries quite often. The teams, if it's a bad, severe injury that was on the court, players will go out and say their thoughts and prayers to them. But when it comes to winning a game, the players get paid to win games. And these gentlemen right here on the screen, they get paid to win the games and to win a championship, to have that legacy. And now we're going to be starting to discuss Nikola Jokic as one of the best centers of all time. You got, of course, players like Shaq, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Hakeem Olajuwon, and my favorite center of all time, in my opinion, the greatest of all time, Bill Russell, the greatest of all time, player of all time, 11-time champion in 12 or 13 years. I mean, pretty much only missed 1 or 2 years not winning a championship. But Nikola Jokic is starting to get up there. 2-time back-to-back MVP, now has won himself a Finals MVP and an NBA championship. Now they're having him as the favorite to win the 2023-2024 regular season MVP. In my opinion, and like with everybody else, now that Nikola Jokic won those back-to-back MVPs, and now that he he didn't get that third MVP, the third back-to-back-to-back MVP, because they wanted. It's not that they even wanted, but they were really pushing for Joel Embiid, which he had a monster season on both ends of the court, 2 blocks a game, 30 plus points a game. He's had a monster regular season, and so he won MVP. To me, if I am in Nikola Jokic's shoes, it's time to continue to elevate my game, continue to improve, and just try to win a Finals MVP and a NBA championship. If he gets those two more things that I just mentioned, you can make that case that he might bump out somebody like a Wilt Chamberlain who has like a significant amount of records. He continues to hold like rebounds per game. He has the most points in one game at 101, which was it? It was 100 points. I don't see that record actually breaking, but it's going to be right up there for a long time. I can't promise it's not going to be broken, but it's a good chance that it won't ever be broken. But yeah, you can make that case with a 2-time champion, a 2-time regular season MVP, and a 2-time Finals MVP. You can make that case for so many of these other players I just mentioned, Hakeem Olajuwon and Wilt Chamberlain, just the two that I just out of the 5. Without going really too far in this, you can make that case that he is one of the greatest centers of all time. And right now, he is the best center in the league. As much as I love Joel Embiid, you have Karl-Anthony Towns as a great shooting center slash big. Because I do have Rudy Gobert that is starting right now at the center position. He's kind of a forward now, Karl-Anthony Towns. That these are off the rip of my head, off the top of my dome of players that I just see those three. You got Bam Adebayo, who plays center, but he's only 6'9", is kind of one-dimensional, or he's two-dimensional in the case of an offensive side that he is able to dribble the ball into the paint, but he's more of a paint player than a shooting center like a Karl-Anthony Towns and Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic, his offensive game is the flow of everything runs through him. There's moments where you got Jamal Murray, who did during the finals average like 10 assists on like 0 turnovers, had a tremendous finals, but he orchestrates everything beautifully, and I love Nikola Jokic for that. Speaking of Jamal Murray, now that's another person that you can make the case that he is one of, if not the best point guard in today's game. In which this upcoming season, in my opinion, he is the point guard for right now, outside of Damian Lillard, who everything runs through Damian Lillard. But he might get traded to the Brooklyn Nets. There's all sorts of rumors. Brooklyn Nets, the Miami Heat, and the Phoenix Suns are the 3 well-known teams that Damian Lillard could possibly go to, which, again, that's not our main priority to talk about right now. It's this team right here on camera that you guys are seeing, or on the thumbnail / the video that we're talking about, is Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. And that Jamal Murray, in my opinion, is the best point guard, and there's nobody even close, in all honesty. Like, off rip, you got Kyrie Irving, he's better. You got Tyrese Halliburton, who, again, Indiana Pacer guy, 20 points, 10 assists on very little turnovers, maybe 3 turnovers, if that. 2 turnovers, really, a game that he averaged. There was a while there that he averaged like 12 assists to like 1 turnover. He was unbelievable. You can make that case that he's a better point guard. But right now, as the NBA champions, the people that you're looking on the screen right now, is Jamal Murray. These players that have put their effort, they put their time to be the champion, they are the best players in the league right now. Bruce Brown and KCP, which we'll get into salary cap for them briefly. They were KCP, or Contagious Caldwell Pope, and Bruce Brown were the glue guys for the role player moments. They hit big time shots, played tremendous defense. They helped things keep cohesive together. And then also the same with Aaron Gordon. He went from just kind of keeping things afloat, but he wasn't like having those moments where they need him. But when they did need him, he was unbelievable. That last game, 27 points, playing great defense when Nikola Jokic isn't able to be in that moment where he is in the right position to play the better defense for himself. Aaron Gordon was there to go and help lock down or try to stop people from getting those right shots, pass the passing lane, so on and so forth. And which also Nikola Jokic is an underrated defender. By golly, I'm not saying he's going to be a lockdown center like a Rudy Gobert his career, but his passing lane, his ability to recognize when people are going to the paint, he just simply puts his hands up and he alters the shot that the person might try to contest or try to go up and right in front of him, but they don't have to alter to go try to do a different thing instead, a different shot instead. He's an underrated defender. Outside of that, Christian Braun had a great game during the finals, and I was very impressed by him. A rookie that won the NCAA championship and to come in and win an NBA championship, play some key minutes. The player, this is the definition of what I think teams are going to be starting to look to get for the future. For a while there, you had the small ball lineup. You had the Golden State Warriors that defined that small ball lineup, having Draymond Green play the center at 6'9", and then it just got drastically smaller and smaller and smaller in every position afterwards. And so that was at that time it was key, but the depth was really good, but it wasn't as good as this right here. And I think teams are going to start doing that starting this offseason. I think there's going to be some contracts that are going to be pretty ugly, and they're going to readjust, try to get this kind of depth as a key moment. And the center position is starting to become not even relevant, but it's going to be a key position for the future because you have, again, Nikola Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, and now you're going to have Victor Wembanyama that is going to be in the league here shortly, Chet Holmgren. That the center position is starting to become another key position outside of a good playmaking, facilitating guard. Your small forward is starting to become irrelevant. The shooting guard is okay. The power forward is okay. But the center is starting to become a key position once more. Because back in the early 90s and anything before then, the 80s, the 70s, the center position was the most important position back then. It was more of the post-up, in which Nikola Jokic does have a good post-up, but his three-point shot is severely underrated, and he doesn't do the shooting threes. He doesn't feel comfortable with himself with those shots, but he should because he is a tremendous three-point shooter. And his shot, I've talked to Zach about this quite often. He'll go and he'll pick up the ball, and he'll be wide open. There's nobody near him. He'll pick up the ball and act like he's going to be shooting it, just slowly pulling it up to go and act like he's shooting it. A defender will finally start coming towards him, and then he'll start running to the paint. He should have just shot it in the first place. He's a great three-point shooter, and he hit some key threes over Anthony Davis. It was an ugly-looking shot, but it still went in because he had that right amount of range over AD. It was it looked like kind of like Dirk Nowitzki kind of shot. It wasn't the best looking shot, but it went in. And it was a swish. It wasn't like it was a back off the board into the basket. He swished him. And so this is a key team for the future that people are going to be looking at that they're going to want to emulate for the future. So, with all that being said, a huge congratulations to them. Their key things to me in this free agency, they went and traded away their first round pick, I think, to the Orlando Magic not this past offseason, but the season before they during the Aaron Gordon trade. So they don't have a first round pick this year, but they have a first round pick for next year that is from the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got the Oklahoma City's 2024 first and second round pick, but they gave up their 2029 first round pick, that's a good thing. That frees up salary cap. They don't have their own first round pick this year. That's fine. That frees up salary cap. They don't have to spend on a rookie, which is key because there's two people on the screen. One that is looking like he's really pumped up, hat backwards. Two people over from Reggie Jackson named Contavious Caldwell Pope that they gotta resign. He's a free. No, I think he's a free agent. No. I think he has one more year left. But if they can somehow sign him, no, he's a free agent. He is a free agent. He's a free agent. If they can get him between that price range, about $10 to $12 million. Let's go with $12 million. Re-sign him is a key factor because he hit some clutch threes, played amazing defense. They gotta get him back as at almost any cost. I think anything more than the $14 million mark is getting a little bit pricey. I think 16 is a cap to me, in my opinion. I know he's a great three-point shooter, great defense, but there's another guy that they need to sign also, which I would love to see them sign, again, $10 to $12 million a year. And that is Bruce Brown. Let's see if I can find him. I know he's here somewhere. Where is that young man? Bruce Brown. I'm looking for you, bud. Is that him next to Thomas Bryant? I want to say that's him. No, that's way too scrawny. What the hell are you, Bruce? Bruce. Oh, there he is. He's two people over from Reggie Jackson to the right. He's has his pinkies next to his mouth, smiling, grinning. He's another one, $10 to $12 million. That if they can get those two people, 10 to 12, let's say $11 million for each. That's $22 million. They have $31 million in salary cap. Then do a mid-level exception on Mr. Jeff Green, which he's in the front row. His arm, Mike Malone has his arm across his shoulder. Big old smile on his face. Not even great, but an amazing veteran that the younger players look to for guidance. I love Jeff Green. I've been loving Jeff Green ever since his Celtic days. He's been a great player. He's had open heart surgery during the regular season. He's been through so much, and he's a great veteran for them. And I would love to see them re-sign him for a mid-level exception because I know he's getting older. He's not playing a lot more minutes than these other people. And do like an $8 million, so then you got only $1 million left. You can go and sign some. You probably that's hitting the salary cap is at that $31 million. But you can probably finagle, try to get it to where you can have a little bit extra money in some sort of fashion to go get DeAndre Jordan if he wants to come back. Which that's not a bad move, but that's the key. Those are the three key players to me: is Bruce Brown, Contavious Caldwell Pope, and Jeff Green to resign those guys, and then just run this back. There's no reason not to bring those three back, and they're going to hit they're going to make the finals, and they're going to, or not finals, but they're going to make the playoffs no matter what for the next however long that Nikola Jokic wants to play and wants to stay on the team, because he is that key player. Jamal Murray, and the one player that I have not talked about, which I just now thought about, and that is Michael Porter Jr. Wow. I know that his back will never be the same. This has happened back in college, and it continues to this day. Not this year, but the 2 years prior, he was out for a significant amount of time, if not the whole seasons, with that back, and he will never. The back is key in life, and it is important that he tries to stay healthy as much as possible. And he was very quiet during the playoffs. He impacted defensively, and that was huge. But his shot selections, the amount of shots that he took, he was not hitting the he was shooting 1 of 7, 1 of 8, 1 of 7. He just didn't have that right jump shot to him. So I would hope, and I'm hoping that this offseason he works on his shot, because if he's hitting his shot and he is going like 4 of 7, 5 of 7, 3 of 7, those are actually 2 buckets that could impact this game and make them guaranteed title contenders for the next however long. Again, these three play together: Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Nikola Jokic. And then you have the shooting guard position in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And I'm fairly certain they're going to resign him. And then Aaron Gordon at the 4. You have Bruce Brown coming off the bench, Christian Vaughn coming off the bench. Probably eventually start to maybe throw in a little bit of the Thomas Bryant. I like Thomas Bryant a lot, former IU kid. That is a good rebounder. He actually has a 3-point shot to him. I think it's just his injury that happened back for the Washington Wizards that kind of has slowed him down a bit. I'd like to see him get some more minutes. But they got so much depth, and I am so happy for the Denver Nuggets. And this will be for the day that I'm recording this is Sunday. You guys can get this on Sunday, and I plan on Wednesday when I get off work recording a mock draft, NBA mock draft video for you guys. And then Thursday I plan on doing a live reaction of the NBA that is going to be awesome. I look forward to seeing the NBA draft. My Indiana Pacers had the 7th pick. There's so much trade rumors going on, so much talks of this player going to this team, this player going to that team. The only player that we're guaranteeing that is going to be going to their team is Victor Wembanyama going to the San Antonio Spurs. But outside of that, there's just so much to talk about, in which I will talk about in the mock draft, and then we will also be reacting Thursday for a live reaction on Thursday. And I'm so glad to be back once more, and we're going to be talking about a lot of NBA stuff going forward for the next 2 weeks. With all that being said, guys, I'm going to end this video right here, and I'll talk to you guys later.